Raise your hand if you think school didn't prepare you for real life. If you have your hand raised, then your assumption about the education system is wrong. The point of school was not actually to raise happy, healthy, productive people. It was just to create the next generation of the country's workers. I know that sounds like a conspiracy theory and oh my god, he's saying school and education are bad, but it is an unfortunate fact. Education is hugely important. Probably one of the most important things you could have, honestly. But the biggest lie that we were sold was that education equals school and school equals education, when it goes so much past that. We didn't actually get much of an education in the education system. In fact, my education actually began after I left the education system. That because it's using the same word education, it makes us seem like it's interchangeable, but they're actually two separate parts of life. And for most people, you didn't really get an education in school. You specifically spent all your time preparing for these exams just for that letter on your CV so that you could then go and qualify for an entry level customer service job or get into university and just have depression. Education is learning. You are learning right now by watching this video, and you can continue your learning by watching other educational material. And this is why this video is sponsored by Skillshare. So the first 1,000, no, I'm joking. I'm not sponsored or anything. Skillshare is nice, but the two real websites you're going to get an education on are YouTube and Reddit. That is a fact. They are the only two websites you should be considering if you're actually thinking about education. You just have to sift through a whole lot of BS whilst you do so. So first of all, the life plan that we've all been sold is good grades, good job, decent money, happy. But I think if you're watching this video, you know that's not true. How many 40-year-olds do you know who are happy? Because I don't think I know a single one. I don't think I know a single person who is happy who has went through this life plan. Good grades, good job, good degree, whatever. There's not many happy people around. And in fact, the happiest people I know are actually what society, teachers, parents told us to not be like. The people who didn't do so well in schools, the people who just played out all the times. The best case scenario of this basic life plan is 60-hour work weeks, because you've got to include commuting and getting ready, and most people don't do that when they talk about work. Working in some kind of corporate job, and maybe you'll end up getting a decent degree and you'll start at 30,000, and that's pretty good and stuff, but you work till you're 65, you save up, and you're like, oh my god, I can't wait till retirement, and then you get arthritis and Parkinson's and stuff, and all that money that you just saved up is just spent on a retirement home. This life of working these standard corporate type of jobs, they forget one big thing that school doesn't teach you, that I'm going to teach you. What money is for. Money is freedom points. That's all it is. Money is literally just freedom points. Now, some people, slaves, spend their freedom points on chains, on literally like new iPhones and dumb shit like that. They're trading their freedom for items. Those people are genuinely not happy. The people who trade their freedom points for freedom are happy. But when you are trading your life for freedom points, but then you create a lifestyle like this 60-hour work week in a shitty job that you don't really like, you aren't giving yourself the time to actually cash in those freedom points, because you get 2 weeks of holiday a year, and for the rest 50 weeks of the year, you have a daddy, you have an owner. And I think this huge level of like depression, or maybe not, clinical depression, but this huge level of sadness that young people are seeing is that we went our entire lives in the schooling system, and as soon as we graduate, we realize that, oh, this is like, we've been funneled into the old way. Like, these old people don't know what they're talking about. Like, why would I go and work this job for 25,000, 30,000, 50,000 when some little 12-year-old girl is making 60,000 a year on TikTok? Why would I go and be a doctor and get 20 years experience before I make the same amount as some little kid who makes little dinosaur videos on YouTube, and he makes 5 times as much as the doctor? Old people, and I mean, that's an insult or whatever, but old people, but people who are like 40ish, they don't really know about online income. And a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm online income, that's fake, you got dropshipping's dead. But like, they're not all lying. That's all I can say to you, is when you see those online income videos, they are Some are lying, but I don't think most of them are lying, because it only seems like that because it's not happening to you. This is the bias that we all have. This is weird point, but this is why I thought no one was having sex until I was like 19, because it wasn't happening to me. So I was like, it can't be happening to anyone else, right? We leave the education system, and the brick wall that hits us is that entrepreneurship is actually real. No one taught us anything about this, like specifically about making stuff on the internet. We might have some relatives who have made businesses before, and that is a sense of entrepreneurship, but really businesses not really scalable unless you're going to franchise, and what kind of normal person ends up doing that? And most of the businesses that we've seen, like the self-employment, are literally just someone who's just made their own job. They're still working 60 hours a week. They're just their own boss. But do you know what I mean? We get sad that we never really learned this entrepreneurial stuff, because we never got taught any of this stuff, man. Like, what's teacher never told you about scalability. She never taught you about target audience, about giving value, about, you know, not thinking about money and instead chasing needs, chasing problems and solving them. You never heard that stuff. You heard that stuff from James Jani's YouTube channel. He's our teacher now. This is our education now. And that is honestly a fantastic point. This guy, if you don't watch his videos, you should do. This guy is a teacher. You hopefully think that I'm a teacher, this is the education that is actually valuable. Because hearing this type of stuff is what changed my life. When I would go online and I did my own self-learning, that is how I found how to improve your mental health. And no one, no teacher, no parent, no adult ever taught me what mental health was. The education system failed us in that sense. They didn't tell us anything about health, anything. They had us exercising like 50 minutes a week. At the end of a Wednesday, we'd do like a 1 hour session, and what is that, man? Why it should be every single day? Why isn't meditation taught in schools? Like, at the start of this video, I think most people who thought that this was like a conspiracy, you know, oh, he's just being an idiot, he doesn't value school or something, so they clicked off. Most of the people watching now, I think you'd agree with me, and what I just said would really make it click. The fact that we did less than an hour of exercise a week, the fact that we didn't get taught things like meditation, about nutrition, about diet, about physical fitness, about mental health, shows you that none of this stuff was actually for us. It was for the country, which is weird, because then when I think about in terms of like government structure, a lot of it is just stupid and outdated, because honestly, it is, you know, the school is to make workers, but if they made happy workers, the happy workers would be better workers. But to them, it's like, no. It's like a micro level thing where like, okay, the macro level is we need to get grades to get these students in. And so the micro level is work these students, man. They don't need to meditate. They don't need to exercise. They need to get a grade B in English. They need to get a grade A in religious studies and history and geometry and stuff. Geography. It's a shame, because this was the structure that should have set us up for the good life, for a life that of knowledge. And I'm not going to bother doing the research, but I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of countries which the schooling system, the education system has been made to do that. And so they're always the same countries like Denmark, Norway, Switzerland, one of those type of ones where they're like the happiest people on the planet. They're like the most productive and best mental health and stuff. And I know for a fact all of those schools aim to make happy, productive people. Whereas here, it's genuinely, it's like the success of a school equals grades. That is it. Isn't it crazy that it's actually like by law you have to be in the school system till you're like 16 or 18, and it is completely normal for that to be the case. I know for a fact there's going to be people disagreeing with me on this, but it's unnecessary. And I have to state that I'm not going against education at all. Honestly, education, learning is the best thing that I do in my day. I actually think that reading and learning is honestly as equivalent to meditation and exercise. And if you've watched like one of my videos before, you know how highly I place mindfulness and exercise. And I honestly think that reading, especially, because honestly education is like 80% reading and maybe like 20% watching and whatever, but I think that learning is up there, because everything I get to talk about is because I've learned it. Everything that I've used to improve myself is because I've learned it, and I've put in a huge intention in my self-learning, but only after I left the education system. only because of YouTube, only because of Reddit, I learned these things. The teachers never told me about physical health. They never told me about resistance training, about diet, about protein, about supplements. They never, like, the drugs talk was don't do drugs. The sex talk was here's a condom, put it on, all right, you're done, and make sure that if you don't have sex with the condom, you'll get an STI and you'll die. That was it. We got a pathetic amount of learning from the education system. And I think a quote that I'm going to keep using is that my education began after I left the education system. And I think that is actually quite accurate for a lot of people. I speak to some people and they're like, oh no, but the school was great. Like, I got to make friends. But that wasn't really the point. Like, making friends is good and we're put together in this thing. That's fair enough. But there could have been something else, like a different type of structure that had us making friends so much better than school was. The point of school should be to like just make happy, productive, healthy people. So it makes a country of people who aren't obese, who aren't depressed. But there was no talks about that. You didn't learn about what a calorie was in school. Like, unlikely. You might have if you went to some random school, private school, or something, I don't know. But then what's annoying is that my opinion right now is an opinion, and what's annoying is that my opinion or even yours is invalid when we speak to people who are older than us. Like, I'm talking about 40-year-old parents and teachers and stuff. It's like they're from a different time and they still think that it's the same thing. And so the phenomenon that I believe is that we're seeing is our parents, teachers, family members who are all about 40 or 50, they didn't get a great education for whatever circumstance. Most of them didn't really have a degree or anything. And so all their lives, they actually wanted an education. They actually envied it a little bit and they wanted potentially to go to university, and they then ended up getting the somewhat lower end jobs, and for most of their working lives they've struggled with money, and they've been looking at the people with the degrees, the doctors, the accountants, the lawyers, and been thinking, you know what, I wish I was like them because they must have such a good life. They're working hard, they're a doctor, they're saving lives, and it takes that degree and I didn't get it. So you know what, my new mission in life is to make sure my children get a degree. And that is admirable. That is something to be grateful about if you're my age. But it is inaccurate. They're seeing that 20, 30 years ago it was relevant, and honestly, if you had a degree like 20 years ago, like, fantastic. But now, honestly, a degree is like, if it's not in a STEM degree, it's genuinely pretty pointless. Especially, worst case, if you go when you're 18, if you go to college or university when you're 18, you're still a dumb little kid at that age. Some people might not be and they matured fast, but I was. And I was failing in college, and all these teachers, all parents and families and friends, and like literally thought that it would be a good idea for a dumbass, an idiot like me who kept on failing in all the classes, who skipped a lot of the classes, to go to university. A guy like me. Now if I went, I'm 5 years older. If I went now, whilst I actually enjoy education and learning, I genuinely would pick a course. And I think I actually would go for the sake of learning. I wouldn't even think about it as a degree or university. I'd actually be interested in learning. But when I was 18, I was a dumbass. How could you tell me to go to university at that age? And from the guys that I teach on a one-to-one basis with the self-improvement, my students, quite a few of them had the exact same thing. Where, I mean, to be honest, the guys who have said this, they actually were good students. They were getting like great grades anyway. But the pressure that the family's putting on them is it's crazy, because you genuinely are like defying your family, your parents and your teachers and stuff if you say that you don't want a higher education. And everyone will tell you, but education's really important, and it is. They are right, education is, but one of the worst investments you'll ever make is a bad degree. And there are bad degrees, that most of them are, in my opinion. There's only a few degrees that I think would be worth it, and that's only to like streamline you into a very specific career. And some people are down with that, and they're like, oh, like if I get this degree, I'd be starting on 30k and whatever. But then I also ask, is that the route that you actually want to go down for your entire life? Because this is what we've been sold, this is our life plan, is good job. It's good. Our life plan is good grades, degree in a certain specified field, doctorate, medicine, whatever, and physiotherapist and accountant and lawyer and whatever. And that puts you into it pigeonholes you into that lifestyle we mentioned before of the 50 weeks a year, 2 weeks off, you've got a daddy, 60 hours a week. And I have never in my entire life met or even heard of a person who is happy. Or in fact, there is one person I've ever heard of, not even like, I've met, but like even online, there's one person who I've seen who actually seems happy working that type of job. And it's one YouTuber who's just like, he's a genius. He's a very hard worker. So it's not like, he's definitely an outlier. He's not a normal person. No offense to him, but he is someone who is special in that sense, because he works long weeks and he's a doctor and he's a famous YouTuber and he's a businessman and stuff. But apart from that, the men and the adults, the 30, 40-year-olds I've seen who have got these specified degrees and they've got doctorates, they all had depression. They all lived very shitty lives. They were working like, they were proud to say, I wake up at 6 and I go to bed at 9 and I work all day and shit. And like, that's the life that we've been sold. And this is why so many young kids, they are kids, they're 20 years old, leaving the education system, feel quite depressed and feel quite unfulfilled with life. And you get hit with this wall, like, this is life. I just left school and now you're telling me I just work and then I die. And the work I'm going to be doing for 50 years, if I don't die early, is going to be in one field. I'm just going to be like, I'll go get a degree for a couple of years and then I'm just going to be like sitting in an office Monday to Friday. And on Saturday and Sunday, I'll get to recover. Like I won't get, free time. I'll get to recover and do the chores. That's the life that you guys put me into. And then we're going on Instagram and we're seeing these people who seem to be faking. They've got to be faking it, don't they? Because these people are traveling all around the world and they've got a decent amount of money and stuff. And how are they affording it? They must be lucky. Fuck them, right? And then you see these videos and you're like, we'll make money online. Surely not. It's got to be. It can't be for me. Like, you know what I mean? Don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I'm made for it and stuff. You are made for it. Do it. Make money online. It is the escape. Like I could tell you, like philosophical shit, but I'm a practical guy. I'm a logical guy. That is the practical, logical escape from this type of lifestyle. If you felt like the education system let you down, it's simply because the outcome of this type of lifestyle that they put you in is this pigeonholed career, specified field of career. You go down this pathway and in 3 years you get a promotion, in 3 years you get a promotion, and you keep going up in the bands. You're in band 6, I might get to band 6 next year, and all this shit. If you find that stuff like is pretty depressing, 100% what you want is online income, because then when it's online, it changes the rules. And when you get more and more into this, you actually think, how are more people not trying to do this? Because when it's online, you have a potential to go viral. You have a potential to grow and to make money whilst you sleep. You detach time from money. And if you don't know how important that is, you need an education. This is what the education system should have told you. But to reiterate, that the success of the education system is good grades, is to put you into that original lifestyle. And there's going to be some Reddit, I'm going to share this video to Reddit, and there's going to be some Reddit comments of like what an idiot. You can't make money online. What an idiot. Just get a degree like a normal person, like, because do what you want in it. But it's working for some people and I'm making it work for me. It's slow. It's not something that I'm wealthy or anything, but it's coming there. And I wish I started YouTube like 4 years earlier, and you can start today, but you're just procrastinating because you don't feel ready for it. And like no one's gonna watch my videos. My first videos aren't gonna be good. Yeah, of course they're not. No one's gonna watch your videos, bro. No, your first videos are gonna be trash. That's the point. Your first workout when you go to the gym is gonna be trash. It's gonna be with shit form and like low reps and low weight. That's the point. But if you don't quit, eventually you become an intermediate. And now you're lifting some decent weight, and eventually you become advanced, and you've been going at it for 5 years. Well, when you get advanced on YouTube or on writing ebooks or coding or making apps or doing video courses or teaching on Skillshare, on Udemy, on trading and all this stuff, man, you'll find something that really fits with you. And what you'll find is then you are mobile. All you need is a little laptop and you go anywhere you want. Digital nomad style. Maybe I'm going off topic, but I really do think that the escape from that depressive, unfulfilling life, if you watch this far and you can relate to what I'm saying, like if you experience the same thing I did, where you left the education system and you genuinely feel like no one prepared me for this bit, what the fuck? Like they all just told me, hey, just get the good grades, get the degree, Hamza, get the degree. I've got it now. What do I do now, motherfucker? Like, you didn't, everyone just abandoned you, like, yeah, you've got a degree now, sort your life out, fix it yourself now. I'm like, I was asking for permission to go to the toilet a couple of months ago. What do you mean sort it out? What is tax? Do you know what tax is? What is council tax? Why do I have to pay that stuff, man? The important thing I can leave you with is that self-learning is the education. Your education, the education system is different from education. That's completely separate, even though they've got that same word. And education is truly important. Education is simply the reason why you are not making 5,000 a month. Genuinely, you can tell me whatever it is, like, oh, whatever excuse you've got is, if you had the education for it, if you learned from the right people and the right source, and part of education, a big part of education includes like practicing and training and stuff. I would be, and you've got to think, it takes some years to really, really learn some things. With the level of education I've got, is the exact reason why I've built what I'm proud of. My muscular physique that's through like 1,000 hours of learning online. And anyone I know who's actually made a decent amount of muscle mass, of strength in the gym, or they learned some kind of skill, it's because they did a decent amount of self-learning. This is the huge importance of just going onto YouTube and actually learning some things. And then you've got the shitty YouTube videos which are 11 minutes long and you don't learn anything, and it's just ruining your productivity anyway. So it is a bit of a trap. But even then, I'm pretty sure I would, and then you would, take those shitty YouTube videos, which are kind of educational, over the degree that you're paying thousands every year for, and then you come out and genuinely what you have is that line in your CV. And how much is that line in your CV worth? And so, with that being said, I'm going to have a special video that I'm going to work quite hard on. It might take a while for me to produce it. If you turn on the post notifications right now, you will get a message for one of the next videos I make, which is going to be what they should have taught you in school. I'm going to cover money, lifestyle, health, all of the things that appear to me. I'm going to do a bit of research to get the opinions of other people, practical advice. It's not going to be BS philosophical shit. It's literally just going to be me exactly telling you, hopefully you should have learned by the age of 18. Which I'm pretty excited for. I think that's actually going to be a good video. It's going to be quite similar to the ones I've made previously, because this is kind of the topic I've been making videos on for a while. It's like just teaching 18-year-old guys who don't really know much about life, like what to do and health and money and making friends. But it's going to be specifically about the way that the education system missed these things. And I'll relate it all to the way that you didn't really get taught to make friends in school. It just kind of happened. And straight after you left school, you realize oh shit, I'm actually bad at making friends, bro. I don't know anyone else now. Well, I'm going to show you how to fix that. So if you want to learn that, if you want some practical money advice, and it won't be so much about, how to file for tax or such shit, because I'll have to learn that stuff, but it's more so I want it to be applicable to anyone in any country. So I'm just going to tell you some important things about money. Similar to what I said earlier, where you have to detach your time from money. School didn't tell you that stuff, but I'm telling you that if you want money in life and you want more than 60,000 a year whilst being a doctor and working 60 hours a week, if you want a potential to make £10,000 a month, then you must detach your money from time. From the education I've learned, and anyone else might agree with me in the comments, that is the requirement. The only way you can become wealthy is if your time, your hour is not traded for a salary. It's if you produce something and that thing gets popular. And there's a good chance for that. Because again, 13-year-old girls are just shaking their ass on TikTok and making more money than any doctorate, any PhD person you've ever met in your life. So you may as well take that route. Just start going on TikTok and just shaking your ass. All right, and it's 4 p.m. So I'm going to go now and do my little learning block. Timetable is important. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give it to the education system there. I'm going to give it to the schools there. If you've seen my videos, you know the emphasis that I place on a timetable. Genius. Absolutely genius. Make yourself a timetable. I'll have mine up on screen right now. This is the best productivity tool I have ever witnessed in my life. It's literally changed my life, and it changed the lives of a couple of the guys that I've been teaching on the self-improvement education thing. Schools implement this timetable Workplaces implement this timetable. Make one for yourself and you'll find that your productivity skyrockets. Because now when you put all your important stuff in this timetable, you only have one goal. You don't need to think, oh, I've got to exercise, I've got to meditate, I've got to work on this business, I've got to do my homework and stuff. Your goal is literally follow the timetable. Best thing, that's where I got the idea from, is from how we used to have timetables in schools. I think that's the one thing that the school has taught me. Take care.